with CCTVs compulsory on new express buses. Passengers must wear seatbelts. Malaysia will make it compulsory for all new express buses to be equipped with CCTVs, while the wearing of seatbelts by passengers will also be mandatory. The country's Transport Minister Anthony Lokisiufu said. It will also be made compulsory to install closed-circuit television (CCTVs) on all new buses, apart from raising the level of bus driver welfare. Loki told a media conference at the Malaysian Institute of Road Safety Research, MIROS, in Kajang, Selangor on Monday, November 19. He was speaking after a handover ceremony of an independent review panel's report on safety recommendations related to the deadly 2013 Genting Highlands bus accident that claimed 57 lives. He also said the compulsory wearing all safety belts for all bus passengers and express bus would commence next year, and enforcement on compliance would be carried out in 2020. Other proposals included ensuring that all buses were equipped with a brake retardant system and a speed limiter gadget, he said. A Malaysian Transportation Safety Board will also be set up to address road accidents, especially those involving express bus. Loki said the establishment of the body was among the suggestions raised in the Recommendation Review Panel report. Loki said 54% or 27 of 51 suggestions found in the report had been implemented, while 38% or 19 suggestions were partially implemented and 8% for suggestions have yet to be implemented. He said the appointment of panel members to study the implementation of the 51 suggestions had been carried out since July 19. Loki said the review panel was jointly chaired by Secretary General Salihuddin Qasim and MIROS Chairman Lee Lamtai. And now, for the traffic info, we call Izzah.
Welcome. Traffic remains slow on most major highways as city dwellers make their way back to Klang Valley from their hometown following Deepavali holiday. At 4:30 p.m., traffic on the Karak Highway was slow heading toward Bentong and Lentang. There was also 36km crawl from the Belda Kampung Serik to Genting Sepah. 2km crawl approaching the Bombat Toll Plaza. At 4 p.m., accidents were reported at km 362.7 of North-South Expressway between Sungai and Slim River. At km 141.0 between Sungai Buaya and Rawang, km 91.1 between Air Hitam and Yongping, and km 42.3 between Simpan Ragam and Sedenap. Meanwhile, trailer which broke down earlier at km 261.3 between Port Dickson and Seremban and have been cleared by 3:42 p.m. At 3:40 p.m., the Plus Plaza was still at a crawl on the North-South Expressway after Senawang exit. According to Malaysian Highway Authority (LLM) traffic, the Northern Class Highway was slow near Hutang Kampung and at Pendang exit, as well heading from Sungai Petani to Bertam and Permatan Pau to Sungai Dua. Traffic was also be slow between Jawi and Bukit Tambur, as well as from Ipoh to Simpang Pulai, Tapah to Slim River, and Bukit Tugar to Rawang. Traffic was clear on other highways such as New Pantai Express, Besraya Express, and the Lekas Highway. That's all for traffic info. Be back to studio.
The GCB and new GCB Deluxe, only at McDonald's.
An unprecedented moment between leaders of two nations are still technically at war.
Surrounded by the bodyguards, the usually secretive Kim Jong-un emerging from the northern side of the DMZ. Wearing his trademark mouse suit, Kim walks over, smiling to the sea fire line, separate North and South Korea, for this handshake with South Korean President Moon Jae-in.
A remarkable summit viewed live around the globe.
Kim Jong-un simply stepping over the most heavily fortified border in the world.
All the weight of history when you walk or put your toe on that other line.
Then President Moon says, "You've come to the south, so when can I come to the north?" And Kim Jong-un says, "Why don't you try now?"
Oh, they're here holding hands.
Oh, he went back into the north. Look at that. Almost as if they're erasing the line.
A ceremonial honor guards noting 5,000 years shared Korean culture, but there are also laughter. Kim Jong-un turning his nuclear test into a punchline. "I won't interrupt your sleep anymore with early morning missile tests." The two men, so different, seems to enjoy it all, chatting among the trees on a picnic bench, alone for almost 45 minutes. Introducing their wives, Kim Jong-un's wife, Ri Sol-ju, all smiles. The two leaders promising to sign a peace treaty this year, formally ending the Korean War and pledging the denuclearization of the peninsula. Arms raised in triumph, and then an awkward embrace. Afterwards, Kim Jong-un stepping out to the world stage as a statement for the first time, saying, "We are one nation and cannot be separated. We are one blood." With that promise of peace, North Korea also agreeing to diplomatic talks with the US. It will be the first time many sitting US presidents will meet with North Korean leader.
Things have changed very radically from a few months ago. You know, the name calling and a lot of other things. They're treating us with great respect.
It's an astonishing turn of event. Just this past July, North Korea tested an intercontinental ballistic missile going higher and further than ever before. Kim Jong-un called it 4th of July gift to the Trump administration.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
The US intelligence analysis believe that North Korea produced a nuclear warhead with the capability of reaching the US mainland.
We will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
When we visited the port city Busan, we noticed President Trump heated rhetoric had everyday Korean on edge.
김정은이가 말을 안 들으면 미국에서 지금 말로나 해서 안 된다고 이렇게 지금 보급되고 있잖아요.
Robert Kelly teaches politics here in Busan, talking about the risk of nuclear Armageddon. It's a delicate balance of power with neighboring country China.
And so the idea is that, you know, I'm holding a gun to your head, you're holding a gun to my head, right? And as long as we both won't pull the trigger, we're both okay.
That's classic arms control.
Yeah, it's nuclear deterrence.
But this year, a pathway to peace opened up at the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. With the newly elected South Korean leader, the two Koreas have agreed to field a joint women's hockey team for the Olympics. And the president, who once said that negotiating with North Korea was a waste of time, accepts the offer.
The speed of this is quite extraordinary, and people were especially concerned because Donald Trump would push back. He's unlike anybody else who's ever dealt with a North Korean leader. Maybe in the end, that's what brought them together.
It would be a delicate truce if history, then unguided, trusting the North Korean regime be a risky proposition.
Even if President Trump sits down and the North Koreans promise to denuclearize, we are a long, long way from knowing whether they will actually do that.
Kim Jong-un stands accused starving his own people, brutally executing and torturing members of his own family and inner circle for disagreeing with his policy.
It's a gulag. There's massive human rights violations. People are starving. There's a whole effort that needs to happen.
You really have to remember what's going on inside that country and what he's been responsible for. I cannot look at him without thinking of Otto Warmbier.
A 22-year-old American, Otto Warmbier, was detained by North Korea in 2016
accused of stealing propaganda poster and sentenced to 15 years of hard labor.
Please save my life. Please think of my family.
The North Korea returned him to US in June in last year after Wonbyo suffered a brain injury falling into coma.
Their son, who was just returned from North Korea with severe brain damage, has now died.
North Korea officially denies cruelty, saying, "We provided him with medical treatments and care with all sincerity on humanitarian basis until his return to US." Yesterday, Wonbyo's parents further lawsuit against government of North Korea, saying allegedly his son brutally tortured and murdered by Kim Jong-un's criminal regime during 17 months of captivity.
It's a brutal regime, and we'll be able to handle it.
Perhaps prematurely, many have credited President Trump with ending this nuclear standoff. There's even talk about Nobel Peace Prize.
I think the responsibility has fallen on the shoulders of the President of the United States, and I think I have a responsibility to see if I can do it.
President Trump was handed the worst cards in the North Korean situation of any president before him. All the presidents before him who were negotiating did not have a North Korea that was capable or very close to being capable of launching a missile with a nuclear warhead.
It's been more than 60 years since the ceasefire in a war that cost hundreds and thousands of lives on both sides. It's unclear that if these truths could pass the test of time.
Shaving damages skin and leaves dark marks deep in your underarms. New Vaseline Deodorant Dry Serum repairs up to 20 layers deep for visibly whiter underarms. Feel confident all day. Change today.
For the weather update, you will need Izzah Suhaidi. Several areas and roads are flooded after almost 2 hours of heavy rain in Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur City Hall Enforcement Department Director Adnan Mahmud said the rain, which began at 4 p.m. yesterday, saw water rising in the tunnel heading from Jalan Tun Razak toward KLCC and Jalan Loi. He said several roads, namely Jalan Wirawati, Jalan Budu Ulu, Jalan Budu Perdana, Jalan Ceras, and Jalan Kepong were also affected by flash flood. He said their personnel were deployed on the ground to help diverse vehicles from affected roads. He also received report of a surau in Biliran Ampang, people housing project being flooded, as well as fallen tree in Jalan Ampang. The rescue squad and firemen are carrying out work to clean up the area. Meanwhile, the Wadah Wawara in Kampung Pandang and surrounding area were also flooded, believed to due to a highway construction work nearby. Rainwater cruised into the premises, including the prayer hall. Later, volunteers gathered to help clean up the mess after the water receded. Spiritedly, 5 vehicles and their driver was trapped in Jalan Tun Razak tunnel. The fire and rescue department said they received a distress call at 5:56 p.m. They saw the driver had climbed onto their car roof. 10 minutes to bring them safely. This situation returned normally by late evening.
Johor, Kedah, Kelantan, jom aktif, Melaka Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, jom aktif, Pulau Pinang, Perak, Perlis, jom aktif, Terengganu, Selangor, Sabah, Sarawak, jom aktif, Malaysia, jom aktif, Malaysia.
Jom Aktif Malaysia sertailah Milo Aktif Negaraku. Pelbagai aktiviti menarik menanti anda. Info lanjut di milo.com.my.
I'm Ameesha, Anuar, and these are the latest sport update. The Malaysia Sport Games SUKMA, happening this November, will feature e-sport as the demonstration event for the first time in its history. The e-sport experience was announced by
Perak Youth Sport and Human Development Minister Hao Li Chuan in the video posted on his Facebook page. The 2-minute video has generated much excitement among local e-sport. The event will feature programs going up against one another in 3 different game titles, namely FIFA, Pro Evolution Soccer, and Mobile Legends. Some of the country's top players have been invited by SUKMA to play in the show match on September 21st and 22nd in the state. Neutral Sports Minister Sheikh Sadiq Sheikh Abdul Rahman will also be making an appearance during the event to show his support for the growing e-sport initiative in Malaysia.
It was a case of so close and yet so far from MotoGP rookie Hafiz Syarif Abdullah at the season-ending Malaysia Motorcycle Grand Prix on Sunday. The Monster Yamaha Tech 3 rider, as expected, conceded the Rookie of the Year title to Franco Morbidelli after finishing 10th in a wet race which was red flag. Then restarted midway due to heavy rain and numerous crashes. Hafiz settled for second place, just 4 points behind Morbidelli. In the final rookie standing, he needs to finish 5th or higher to overtake the Italians. However, it is still a positive achievement for the 24 years old who rode the biggest amount of 4 Yamahas on the grid this year. Signed by Tech 3 as a late replacement for Jonas Berger at the start of the season, Hafiz was not expected to do well among the rookies.
Among the rookies were last year's Moto2 World Champion Morbidelli, Switzerland's Thomas Luthi, and Japan's Takagi Nakagami. Hafiz dragged out 4 top 10 finished Argentina, Motegi, Sepang and Valencia, ending the season a commendable 16th place overall with 46 points. Hafiz, who is the first ever Malaysian to compete as a full season rider in MotoGP, will remain for a second season with Tech 3 next year. Tech 3, who are in their final year with Yamaha after 20 seasons, will be switching to KTM machinery next year and will be using factory bikes with full support from the Austrian manufacturer. Hafiz will be riding alongside Miguel Oliveira from Portugal, who won the Moto2 race in Valencia, as current teammate Johan Zarco of France will be moving to Red Bull KTM next year. Morbidelli will next year be riding for the newly set up Petronas Yamaha Sepang Racing Team, Malaysia's first ever MotoGP team, with current Moto2 rider Fabio Quartararo from France.
Striker Nursyarud Idlan Talaha puts Malaysia will get to the AFF Cup final and meet again to the team that beat them, Vietnam. The veteran found it hard to accept the merit of their 2-0 defeat to Vietnam at a 40,000 packed Mydin National Stadium in Hanoi on Friday. Nursyarud and his men had dominated the match with their possession football, but it was the Vietnamese who got 2 goals through counter-attacks.
It led to Malaysia suffering their first loss in Group A in the AFF Cup after 2 wins earlier against Cambodia 1-0 and Laos 3-1. Harimau Malaya can still reach the semi-final if they defeat Myanmar in their final group match at the National Stadium in Bukit Jalil on Saturday. On Friday, Nosharo was sadly marked by the Vietnamese after he was singled out as Malaysia's most dangerous player, having scored a brace against Laos and once against Cambodia. Nosharo, who helped Malaysia emerge as AFF Cup champions back in 2010, is confident that they will be able to overcome Myanmar in their final group match.
That's all from TTV News. I'm Ameesha Anuar and see you next